My name is Nick. I am 15 years old. Today is Monday the 26th. I'm speaking with Bill, who is my grandpa, and re-recording this interview in Springfield, Missouri. So, when Vietnam started, why did you join the war effort?
This is going to sound hokey, so just prepare for it to sound hokey. I was working for the telephone company in New Mexico, and back then all of the TV and radio and everything came through phone lines, and we were having trouble with the line that's where all the radio was coming through, and so I would sit there with a headset on listening, and somebody out on the pole would do what they called pick a pair. They would just cross the wires on a pair, and if I heard it click, I'd tell them, and they'd write down what it was because they were trying to straighten out the wiring. And while I was sitting there listening to this broadcast, there was a recording that came through from Vietnam, and during this recording, the troops were being overrun. And you could hear the explosions in the background, and you could hear the rifle fire and the automatic weapons fire, and all of that. And the guy that was carrying the recording actually got shot while he was making the recording. You could actually hear the bullet hit him. And the recorder was still on whenever the corpsman started treating the guy and stuff. And so it just kind of made me angry, and so I went out the next week and joined the Marine Corps.
Wow. What was the scariest moment for you in Vietnam?
Well, I was in what they called a secured area in Vietnam, and that meant that I almost got killed once a week instead of every day. But I had a rocket land in front of me, probably less than 20 feet away, and it went off what's called low order detonation. The explosives that were closest to me, for some reason, didn't explode, and it acted like the chamber of a gun. It sent all the shrapnel the other direction, and I remember there was just one little white hot BB that went right next to the corner of my eye, and I whirled, and I had something in my hand, and I pitched it, and I think I outran it before it hit the ground. I was hauling. And I got into a bunker real quick, and then kind of came to my senses, and I told the guys that, I said, man, we need to go check on the other. I was with 3 guys, and it landed closer to them than it did me. And over there, if somebody said take 5, you could get 4 minutes and 50 seconds sleep because you're always exhausted. And while I went to get this part, these guys were laying down. And that's the only reason why the 3 of them didn't get killed, is because they were laying down instead of standing up. Because if they'd been standing up, they definitely would have gotten killed from it. The plane they were near was pretty much wiped out. And so that was a pretty hairy experience.
Yeah. What was the funniest thing that happened to you or someone else while you were in Vietnam?
I was a big fan of the TV series MASH because of all the practical jokes they played on each other and all the crazy things that they did. That you did everything in the world that you could to try and make yourself laugh and to try and make life as normal as possible. So we did a lot of crazy things, but I remember one thing. And if anybody in the Pentagon is listening to this, just ignore it. It didn't happen. But the commanding general of the 3rd Marine Division was supposed to give a great big speech to us, pumping us all up and stuff. And they had a bunch of wood that they were going to build a big platform for him to speak from. And a while before the platform was supposed to be built, a big military 6x pulled up, blocked the window for the CO, and a forklift pulled in behind the truck and loaded all that wood in the back of the truck. And all that wood made it back to our area, and so the next day and the next night and the next day, the only thing you heard all over there was sawing and hammering and stuff. And this was supposed to be for an IG inspection, Inspecting General's inspection. And whenever they came and they inspected our huts, the major that did the inspection of our huts was complimenting on us about how we had really fixed up those huts and done a really good job. And he asked the question about, where did you guys get all of this stuff? And naturally, we didn't quite tell him where we got all of it, but the commanding general spoke standing on a wooden bench. So,
It's funny. What was the craziest thing that happened in Vietnam?
craziest thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not real sure what you mean by craziest.
Like, what kind of blew your guys' minds that event had even happened?
Oh, okay. Well, while I was over there was an accident at the bomb dump, and somebody dropped a white phosphorus igniter. And the only thing that white phosphorus has to do is be exposed to the air, and it catches on fire. And I don't know how to explain how hot it is, but it just burns through anything. But it set the bomb dump on fire. And so for 3 days, we had these massive explosions occurring where they'd have a pallet of 50 500-pound bombs go off at the same time. And I'd actually built my bunk up off of the ground and put a little cabinet underneath it with a 7-inch reel-to-reel stereo underneath it. And I had about 8 hours of music on that and Mickey Mouse ears. I was on nights almost all the time I was over there, so I didn't want to get awakened during the day by anything, including the sirens and junk. But I was in bed one morning and something blew me out of the rack, and I'm hanging from my bed with the Mickey Mouse ears around my neck and stuff, and I drug them off and literally ran through the door. Our doors were just screen doors, and I ran through it. I got screen hanging all over me and wood clanking on my heels and everything. I went running out there, and I screamed, "What happened? What's going on?" And they said, "What do you mean, what's going on?" I said, "Something just blew me out of my bunk." And they said, "Yeah, right." And the reason why they said that was because the bomb dump had been going off for a couple of hours. But I had these Mickey Mouse ears on and had the music turned up really loud and didn't even realize what was going on until one of these massive explosions blew me out of the bunk. And all the time I was over there, I never convinced one person that I slept through the first 2 hours of the bomb dump going off. But one of the things that was really funny that happened, and if you've ever seen the Roadrunner cartoons and Wile E. Coyote, and how the Wile E. Coyote will run off a cliff and he'll pause and then he goes falling down. Well, we had a guy standing up on top of one of the huts, and he was straddled the hut, the center of it, and he was taking pictures of these explosions that were going off at the bomb dump. And one of these big ones hit us, and the hut collapsed underneath him, and I swear he paused in midair before he followed the hut down. And we all ran over to see if he was all right and everything, and as soon as we found out that he wasn't seriously injured, just had his legs kind of jammed underneath him and stuff, almost at the same time all of us said Wile E. Coyote, because we all thought the same thing, that it was crazy that he actually paused in air. So believe that one or not.
That's funny.